Hey everyone, welcome back to the channel. You're probably here because you're still processing everything that just happened in Stranger Things Season 5, or maybe you need help piecing it all together. Either way, Seriously is right here with you. Season 5 has dropped in 3 parts, and we're recalling every possibly important scene in the first volume right here, right now. On November 12th, 1983, 6 days had passed since Will Byers vanished. He's still trapped in the Upside Down, hiding inside Castle Byers. To keep himself calm, he sings, "Should I stay or should I go?" However, the comfort doesn't last long for a Demogorgon closes in. Will fires the weapon he got from their shed before getting taken to the Upside Down. He quickly runs blindly through the twisted forest and climbs a tree. Looking down, the Demogorgon chased him all the way there. What's worse is that it can climb. Desperate, Will jumps to a nearby tree, but he's unable to hold on and falls. With that, the Demogorgon takes him and drags him straight to Vecna. Will gets forced to consume unknown substances, while Vecna claims that their plan can finally begin and that they'll do beautiful things together. The story jumps to the present, November 3rd, 1987. At the Wheeler house, Holly sets the table and pauses. Seeing someone outside, she waves. Her mother, Karen, suddenly calls her to round up the troops, revealing that the Byers now live together with them. After breakfast, everyone rushes out except for Ted and Karen Wheeler. As they commute, their morning starts with WSQK's Morning Squawk, hosted by Robin Buckley, with Steve Harrington working alongside her behind the scenes. On that particular day, Robin celebrates her 500th broadcast. She talks about the changes in Hawkins in a lighthearted manner. From the earthquake that split the earth open, the dandruff-like pour, to the quarantine that forced them to their new normal. Robin manages to spin everything into a positive light. After the gates tore through the town, the military locked Hawkins down under full quarantine. Soldiers outnumber civilians, mandatory health checks are routine, and the government insists the disaster is a natural phenomenon. Massive steel plates cover the split ground, which Robin jokingly refers to as a giant steel band-aid. She then reminds everyone not to sled on it, since the soldiers don't like it. Robin proceeds to remind her listeners that they should not go near the Military Access Control Zone, aka the MACZ. She then encourages everyone to live their life and plays a song, as she's reminded of Vicky, whom she's now dating. Suddenly, the music dies down and Robin and Steve rush to fix it. Steve then lectures her about thumbing her nose at the military, but Robin claims that she's reiterating their rules. Seeing that it's not getting better, Steve radios Dustin Henderson, but instead of helping, Dustin tells him to look at the manual. At school, Dustin wears his Hellfire Club shirt and immediately becomes a target. Andy and his teammates lead the harassment, but Lucas, Mike, and Will arrive to defend Dustin. Andy's group soon leaves. They know Dustin is doing this for Hellfire and to protect Eddie Munson's name, but he should also remember Hopper's rules to stay quiet and blend in. However, Dustin refuses to back down and leaves them. On one of the walls, a missing person alert for Jane Hopper, who was last seen in June 1986, is posted. The military relentlessly hunts for her, unaware that Eleven is secretly training with Hopper and Joyce. Eleven pushes herself hard even when Hopper tells her to rest. At the WSQK, Nancy finally finds the technical manual. They soon realize that to fix the radio problem, they have to climb up the tower. Both Steve and Jonathan get to it, racing to the top as if to prove themselves superior to the other in front of Nancy. However, as soon as they finish fixing it, the object of their interest is not in sight. Meanwhile, Murray Bauman sneaks into Hawkins disguised as a grocery delivery driver. He arrives at WSQK, hauling supplies that include telemetry tags, weapons, food, a jazz cassette tape for Jonathan, and of course, intel. Murray confirms that the military is preparing another operation in the Upside Down that night. Judging by the amount of resources, it will give Hopper ample time for a crawl and even end this. With the radio tower fixed and this new intel, Robin returns to broadcasting, plays the song Upside Down by Diana Ross, and shares the intel with everyone else in their group through a cryptic radio commentary. Everyone who's elsewhere takes notes, and they quickly head to various secret locations through hidden doors and tunnels to meet up for a crawl meeting to designate their positions during the mission. The crawl refers to the plan that involves Hopper sneaking into the Upside Down through the Max Z gate and searching one unexplored section at a time, while the others track him from the right side up. They've done this more than 30 times already, but they still have no proof of Vecna's existence since the last time they saw him burn and drop from a great height. Eleven can't find him in the bath, while Will can't feel him anymore. Though some wonder if Vecna is already gone, they still keep going because not knowing is worse. After the crawl meeting on Mike's side, Will starts feeling weird. He turns around and hears some voices of laughter. As Will looks up, the world seems to start spinning fast until he almost falls. His friends rush toward him when they see this, asking if it's Vecna, but Will isn't sure. Elsewhere, Holly is lying down on the playground's merry-go-round. Her friend gently spins it when Derek suddenly appears and spins it fast before leaving. Just as she recovers, the teacher calls them in. Holly looks beyond the fence and happily waves. She approaches someone and starts chatting. However, when the teacher approaches to call her, she sees that there's no one there with Holly. In a military lab, Sergeant Ramirez approaches Dr. K and reports the failed attempt to get the girl. Obviously disappointed, Dr. K relays a message to his commander that she needs the girl. As the scene pans out, it reveals that the military lab is located in the Upside Down. In the tunnels, 11 begs to be allowed to join Hopper in his crawl for that night, but he rejects this. They soon rise above the tunnels into a shed near their cabin. When Hopper and Joyce privately talk, Hopper admits he wants 11 safe until the last minute. When Joyce leaves, Hopper opens a secret wall compartment and takes a small bag out. Elsewhere, Mike picks up his sister from school when he learns that their mom is also there, talking to Holly's teacher. They are discussing Holly talking to someone only she can see. Holly calls him Mr. What's-It, and he warned her about monsters in Hawkins. Mike gently reassures her and gives Holly her own D&D character, the Cleric, naming it Holly the Heroic. He explains dungeon crawls as a way to feel brave, and that a cleric possesses divine powers and can even cast a dimension door. At the hospital, Will and Lucas visit Max. Lucas plays Running Up That Hill for her, hoping she can hear it and wake up. Later, Will accidentally sees Robin kissing Vicky. Will drops his coke in shock and flees. It is then that Robin and Vicky realize they were seen. Meanwhile, Dustin visits Eddie's grave, which is constantly vandalized. This time, he finds something else instead of paint. Soon, Andy and his teammates corner Dustin and badly beat him as revenge for his humiliating snake prank from earlier that day. Outside the WSQK, the group gathers for the crawl. However, with Dustin missing, everything shifts. Will volunteers to take Dustin's place, but Joyce refuses to let him, so Jonathan steps in instead. Steve drives, Jonathan monitors Hopper's signal, and Joyce coordinates from the WSQK. Mike and Lucas observe the MACZ to time Hopper's move. The soldiers burn the gate, creating smoke. Once the coast is clear, they signal Hopper to get into one of the trucks going to Upside Down. Right in time, the trucks roll in and Hopper enters the Upside Down. Inside, disaster strikes almost immediately. The military trucks stop and they face Demogorgons. Though the truck Hopper's in manages to flee, a Demogorgon gets to the driver and the truck crashes. Hopper is injured and thrown from the vehicle, barely escaping into the woods. Back at the WSQK, Will collapses just as the energy fluctuates, bringing the entire building into darkness. The connection he thought was gone surges back. Will senses a Demogorgon heading toward the Wheeler house. He tells this to the others as he regains himself. Nancy, along with 11, quickly races home. In the Wheeler house, Holly turns the cleric piece into a necklace and hears her parents arguing because of her imaginary friend. As Holly cries in her bed, the lights flicker and cracks spread across the ceiling and split open. A Demogorgon tears open a gate in Holly's bedroom ceiling. Terrified, Holly runs to the bathroom, where Karen is about to take a bath. Karen tries to calm her daughter, but the lights begin to flicker, and she notices Holly is bleeding. When the bathroom door starts to break, Karen pulls Holly into the tub and hides with her beneath the water as the creature forces its way inside. Hearing the disturbance, Ted re-enters the house, shouting for Karen and Holly. He comes face to face with the Demogorgon and swings his golf club in a desperate attempt. Immune to such attacks, the creature hurls Ted through a wall like he's nothing. Karen and Holly resurface and make a break for it, but the Demogorgon corners them. With no other choice, Karen smashes a wine bottle and stabs the monster again and again. Nancy and 11 arrive moments later. While Will and Lucas are still on the way, they find Karen badly injured and the house in ruins. Holly is gone, and a gate remains open nearby. Seeing that it's closing, Nancy shouts for 11 to go. 11 quickly heads toward the gate, into the Upside Down, in pursuit. In the Upside Down, 11 tracks the Demogorgon and runs into a wounded Hopper. He's furious that she's exposed herself when the military is actively hunting her, but 11 refuses to turn back. She believes finding Holly will lead them straight to Vecna. As she patches Hopper's wound, he finally admits his fear. He can't lose 11 the way he lost his daughter. However, their pursuit ends at a massive, impenetrable wall. 11 sees Holly's boot and believes the Demogorgon has taken Holly beyond it. This is somewhere even she can't reach, and 11 realizes this is why she can't find Holly with her mind. At Hawkins Memorial Hospital, Mike, Nancy, and Lucas sit together while the doctor and nurses tend to Karen. The siblings discuss their regret for never telling their parents the truth about everything. Mike struggles to understand why Vecna would target Holly, but Nancy points out that it matches a vision Vecna once showed her, one where their parents and Holly are dead. Noticing something, Lucas points out how Holly's abduction happens 3 days from the anniversary of Will's disappearance. Later, Lucas visits Max's hospital room. He talks to her about everything that happened, telling her that the final battle for Hawkins has already started and that they need her back. Elsewhere, Steve tells Jonathan they should go to the hospital to support Nancy. The suggestion turns into an argument about Nancy and how Steve is competing for her attention. Their fight ends abruptly when a badly injured Dustin shows up. The three resume their mission as Steve scolds Dustin for missing the crawl. Though Dustin claims he fell off his bike, Steve knows better. The two loudly argue, but Jonathan makes them shut up to detect a signal from Hopper, who's still in the Upside Down. Back at the Wheeler house, the military investigates what happened there. Lieutenant Colonel Sullivan looks at the hooded jacket and at the closed gate and instructs a soldier to pull up every video surveillance within the area. Later, in the Upside Down, a soldier confirms a sighting of 11 from 3 hours ago and reports to Dr. K that 11 is also in the Upside Down. At the WSQK station, Will explains to Joyce that his vision during the crawl felt different this time. It's as if he were inside the Demogorgon's mind. He believes he's still connected to the hive mind. Hearing this, Robin suggests using Will as a living receiver to locate Vecna and Holly, explaining how his proximity might be the key to a clearer signal or connection, similar to radio waves. However, Joyce refuses to let her son risk his life to spy on the enemy again. They drop the subject, but later, Robin and Will sneak out. She makes an excuse about fixing the flux capacitor and that the task requires 2 people. After Robin convinces Will that his plan is genius, they return to the woods where Will got his spiraling vision. However, after getting there, Will doesn't detect anything, so they continue walking. As they do, Robin asks Will if he saw her with Vicky at the hospital. She explains they're just good friends and worries about how things might look. It is then that Will notices the details in his previous vision and quickly heads in a specific direction. Dawn soon breaks as Will and Robin arrive at the Hawkins Elementary School playground. Will goes to the merry-go-round, realizing why his vision was spiraling before. This time, everything clicks. His earlier visions weren't from the Demogorgon at all. They were Vecna's as he invades the mind of his next victim, and in this case, it was Holly's. Just then, students arrive. As they pass Will and Robin, Will gets another feeling and stares at a passing student. Back at the hospital, the detail Lucas mentioned sticks with Mike. He starts to wonder if Holly's imaginary friend, Mr. Watson, isn't imaginary at all, and that he might know where Holly has been taken. Sharing this with Nancy, they decide to investigate by asking their mom. Disguising themselves as a patient and nurse, they sneak into Karen's hospital room. Weak but conscious, Karen writes what Holly's teacher saw earlier and what Mr. Watson looks like based on Holly's description. She then reveals that the real name of Holly's imaginary friend is Henry. Elsewhere, Holly walks hand in hand with Henry as they enter the Creel house. He smiles and welcomes her, promising to save Holly's friends and then her family. Now halfway through the first volume of Season 5. In the Upside Down, Hopper and 11 fail again and again to break through the massive wall blocking their path. 11 refuses to give up, convinced that Holly is somewhere beyond it. But Hopper points out that they don't even know for sure that the Demogorgon took Holly through that barrier. Their argument is cut short when military vehicles arrive. In a truck, some machinery emits a frequency that visibly weakens 11, forcing them to hide before they are discovered. However, they are soon discovered when 11 groans in pain. Hopper fights them on his own and manages to disable the machine producing the harmful frequencies. In an instant, 11 regains her energy and overpowers the soldiers. Meanwhile, Joyce catches Will and Robin biking back to the WSQK station. Furious, Joyce scolds Robin for taking Will into the woods against her wishes. Will snaps and tells his mother that her plan to keep him locked away sucks. Now that he's taking action, they learn that Vecna is targeting children, just like he did with Holly. In Hawkins Elementary School, Vecna appears in his human form as Henry and quietly watches Derek Turnbow. Derek sees him and smiles. In the Creel house, Henry also serves Holly breakfast and promises that her parents will join her soon. Before leaving for the day, he warns her never to leave the house or enter the surrounding woods, claiming monsters lurk there. Before returning inside the house, Holly feels as if someone else is watching her. Now alone, Holly fills the time by dancing through the house, baking a cake, listening to I Think We're Alone Now, watching movies, and trying on dresses. Her carefree day ends when the doorbell rings. Outside, Holly finds no one, but there's a letter from Henry and a map marked with an X. Back at the WSQK, everyone else regroups. Dustin apologizes for missing the crawl, but the group quickly shifts focus to Will's discovery. Will explains that when he's close to the hive mind, he can see through Vecna's eyes as he stalks his victims. As it happens, Derek Turnbow is the next victim. Will proposes a risky plan of taking Derek to the abandoned McCorkle farm while he's unconscious. However, this plan has many holes, so Mike creates a more detailed plan with Will's original plan as its base. They'll have someone with access to the Turnbow house sedate the family and blindfold Derek so so Vecna can't see through him. After that, they'll turn the house into a trap that will weaken a Demogorgon and implant it with a tracker that can lead them to Vecna's hideout and to where Holly is. Knowing this, Lucas turns to his sister Erica for help. She's best friends with Derek's sister, Tina. At least she used to be. Now, Erica regards Tina as her archenemy. Though Erica initially refuses, she ends up agreeing when Mike admits that the plan is meant to help find Holly, save Derek, and even stop Tina from talking to Erica ever again. In Hawkins Memorial Hospital, Robin and Will bribe their way into one of the patient rooms. Robin explains how she poses as the granddaughter of one of the patients to regularly visit Vicky at work. As it happens, Vicky is on duty that day, and they decide to hide considering Robin can't make it to their date that night. Somehow, they manage to hide in one of the patient rooms. It is then that Will admits he saw them, and the two talk about how Robin and Vicky's relationship began. Just then, they realize they can take the sedatives they need for their plan in that same room. Meanwhile, Murray supplies everything they need for their plan, from flammable liquid, snare wire, CPR dummy, shotgun shells for Nancy, water balloons, barbed wire, and spark plugs for Dustin. Nearby, Steve dismantles the van to make it lighter for a chase, but Dustin sees a more efficient option. Despite Steve's protests, Dustin creates a hole in Steve's car to attach a telemetry tracker to it. Later, Murray sees Nancy fiddling with a tracker and a shotgun shell. Upon learning it's meant for a Demogorgon, Murray insists it'll get destroyed. Hence, Nancy tests if the tracker can survive the impact after getting fired. Luckily, it does, so they proceed with the plan. During the prep, it is revealed that Jonathan has been hiding an engagement ring for Nancy inside the cassette tape Murray gave him. With her parents injured and Holly missing, he decides it's not the right time to pop the question. In the Upside Down, Hopper and Eleven captured Akers. They discuss how the military might know what the wall is. To find out everything Akers knows, Hopper interrogates him while Eleven snoops around Akers' mind. She discovers a secret military base on Gable Ridge Road run by Dr. K, dedicated to studying the Upside Down. At the end of one memory, Eleven finds a massive white metal door. When she tries to force the sealed door open, Akers collapses. Hopper quickly checks on Eleven, who is shaken but certain that behind the metal door is her kryptonite. They're holding someone powerful like her, and Eleven believes it's Vecna. That night at Hawkins, Erica approaches Tina with tears, an apology, and Tina's favorite pie. The gesture works, and Tina invites her inside. The Turnbow family gathers at the table and eats the pie laced with sedatives, except for Tina. When everyone else starts to lose consciousness, Erica has no choice but to sedate Tina differently. The unconscious family is soon moved to the abandoned barn while the others rig the Turnbow house with traps. At the barn, Will apologizes to Joyce for snapping at her earlier. Joyce admits she still carries guilt for not checking on him the night he disappeared years ago, and they promise to trust each other more. Eventually, the Demogorgon arrives at the Turnbow house. The traps slow it down long enough for the group to implant the tracker. Injured, the creature flees. Steve, Dustin, Nancy, and Jonathan chase after it, following the signal. Suddenly, the Demogorgon changes its route. Dustin shouts the directions to Steve, who's driving. Returning to the barn, Will and the others closely track the situation from their side. However, Derek wakes up, tears off his blindfold, and starts screaming. Will then realizes that Vecna knows where they are. The Demogorgon changed its course because it was heading straight for them. Elsewhere, Holly puts together an outfit inspired by the cleric Mike gave her and follows the map into the woods, despite Henry's earlier warnings. Holly follows the map's instructions and soon reaches the rocks marked on the map. A shadow moves between them. Frightened, Holly runs, trips, and grabs a weapon. As the figure steps into view, Holly sees Max Mayfield. Back at the barn, Joyce, Will, Robin, and Erica struggle to calm a terrified Derek Turnbow. They insist they're trying to protect him and his family from monsters, but Derek is convinced they're lying. When he attempts to run, Will suddenly senses that the Demogorgon has found them. Just as it appears, Joyce manages to hold the creature off just long enough for Steve's group to arrive. Steve slams the car straight into the Demogorgon. At the same time, Will gets flung into the air as if he were hit by the car himself. Suddenly, the Demogorgon regains itself and flees back toward the Upside Down. Seeing the gate where it fled to is still open, Steve suggests going after it. Dustin panics at the signals lowering, while Jonathan worries they will crash. Steve then looks at Nancy, who simply says to do it. Hearing this, Steve quickly drives towards the gate. As they make it through the other side, everyone cheers. They continue to pursue the Demogorgon, but the signal starts to disappear. Steve speeds up, but their pursuit abruptly ends when the car crashes into the same mysterious wall Hopper and Eleven found earlier. Elsewhere in Hawkins, Will and Lucas see the military rounding up children into a bus heading to the Max Z. Unknown to them, Dr. K issued this command under the guise of protection. In reality, she intends to use the kids as bait to draw Eleven out of hiding. Meanwhile, in the aftermath, Will recovers from the experience and gets hit with another vision. This time, he paints it on a barn wall. Robin deduces that Will just received a strong signal that let him see beyond. In Will's vision, he saw Holly trapped in some spire, along with 3 other children. To make it worse, there are 8 more empty empty spaces nearby, as if waiting for their other occupants. However, there's a bigger problem. Lucas and Will arrive and tell them that Vecna isn't the only one who wants the kids. Knowing they're running out of time, Robin comes up with a plan based on Tom, Dick, and Harry of the Great Escape. Mike fine-tunes this plan and pointedly looks at Derek as their inside man to save the other children. Meanwhile, near the military lab, Eleven and Hopper are scouting the area when Dustin's group contacts them. When Hopper learns that their group is also in the Upside Down and what happened so far, he tells them to stay put while they come up with a solution for the wall. With this info, Hopper finally agrees to infiltrate the military lab with Eleven. While stuck there, Dustin realizes that the wall in the Upside Down forms a complete circle, with Hawkins National Laboratory at its center. Though they're not sure if the wall is the lab's creation, Dustin suggests investigating this. Elsewhere, Akers regains consciousness and frees himself. He runs back to the military lab and alerts them of what happened. Soon, Hopper and Eleven infiltrate the lab. However, the harmful frequency is up, incapacitating Eleven. Eleven hides in one room, only to be discovered by Dr. K. Meanwhile, Hopper deals with the soldiers, but he soon gets caught by a tentacle of the Upside Down. Dr. K discovers him like this and uses temperature to aggravate the monstrous being into finishing Hopper. Seeing this, Eleven grabs some scissors and hides them. She approaches Dr. K as if she's using her ability. Though powerless, Eleven makes contact and attacks Dr. K with the scissors, while Hopper manages to free himself. Now free, Hopper knocks Dr. K unconscious as he takes her ID card. They soon get access to the secured metal door. Believing Vecna is in there, Hopper urges Eleven to leave, telling her he's proud of her. With explosives attached to his chest, Hopper enters the vault on his own. He is ready to sacrifice himself, but surprisingly, it doesn't take long for him to get out. With the frequency shut down, Hopper motions for Eleven to look inside, and there, she finds that her sister, 8, is held captive. Elsewhere, Max leads Holly through the cave where she's been hiding. Max explains that they're trapped in a world stitched together from Henry Creel's memories, and calls it Henry's prison. Ever since her apparent death, Max has been exploring it, searching for a way out. It is then that she learns that it's Henry's memories. However, as she continues forward, she also finds Vecna's memories of her on it. After seeing the horror of her past, Max finally reaches the memory of her death. There, she nearly escapes when she hears Lucas playing her favorite song at the hospital, but the portal closes at the end of the song. It is then that Vecna found her before she could break free. As she flees Vecna, she finds the cave. Max believes it's different since Vecna can't follow her there, possibly because it's tied to a memory too terrifying for him to face. Knowing she is safe in that place, Max almost accepted her fate. That is, until Max saw Holly arrive at the Creel house. She realized they might have another chance. Though risky, Max instructs Holly to return to the house and continue playing along with Vecna's plan for now. Back at Hawkins, Derek's now on their side, so they send him undercover into Max Z. Just as planned, Derek simply walks inside Max Z with the excuse that his school is missing. Now that he's in, he pinpoints the extraction point for the escape and reports it to Joyce. Hearing this, Joyce reminds Derek that his goal is to identify which children have seen Mr. Watson and guide them. Once he does, they will evacuate through the hidden tunnels and out of Hawkins with Murray before Vecna can reach them. Derek soon gets on with his job of gathering the other children. Meanwhile, Mike's group heads to the tunnels. He and Will talk as they walk, and Mike asks about Will's experience of seeing through the Demogorgon's POV. Hearing how it is like a scary movie that Will can't turn off, Mike gets the idea that it's possible that Will can also pull the strings while he taps into the hive mind. He is confident that Will is a sorcerer since his powers are innate. Though Will is amused at Mike's crazy theory, Mike remains resolute. Nearby, Robin sees how Will reacts to Mike. Later in the tunnels, Robin gently pulls Will and opens up about her own struggles with her identity, explaining that she only found peace when she stopped relying on others for validation and learned to accept herself fully. Her heartfelt words stay with Will, and when the others notice they're lagging behind, the two simply laugh. Their group soon reaches the correct position in the tunnels and breaks through the barracks. Though they initially hit a pipe, they manage to make their way through, creating a hole for the children to escape through. After sending a signal to Derek, Derek directs the other children to the out-of-order bathroom stall where Mike's team awaits. He does this a couple of times at each signal. However, their plan soon collapses because of terrible plumbing. Derek and the rest of the children influenced by Henry run to the bathroom, and Derek helps Lucas and Mike stop the incoming soldiers. But the soldiers overpower them. After discovering the group, they arrest Mike, Will, and Joyce. With them are Derek and two other kids. At WSQK, Robin manages to escape with 3 children to Murray's truck, while Lucas leads 2 others through the tunnels. As Joyce and Derek argue with the soldiers, Will suddenly collapses, sensing something racing toward them. Demogorgons tear out of the Upside Down, and the soldiers engage in a fight with them. During the chaos, Joyce pulls Will to safety as Mike protects Derek and the remaining children. Seeing this, Erica, who's stationed nearby, radios to the others that they're under attack. Robin and Murray quickly speed away as 3 Demogorgons chase them. Lucas's group sprints through the tunnels as 2 Demogorgons appear near them. As Mike leads the kids towards safety, Demogorgons surround them. Soldiers use flamethrowers on the Demogorgons, hurting each of them, including Will. It is then that a figure appears from the huge gate. The figure turns out to be Vecna. He effortlessly deals with the remaining soldiers and helps his Demogorgons resume their mission of taking each child to the Upside Down. Vecna approaches Will, and Joyce tries to protect her son, but Vecna easily throws her as he directly confronts Will. Vecna generously explains that he chose children because they are easier to control, making them the perfect vessels. He then taunts Will, revealing that Will's abduction in 1983 taught him what was possible. With that, Vecna retreats into the Upside Down, taking all 8 children with him. However, the attack doesn't end there. 3 Demogorgons appear, and they head straight toward Robin, Lucas, and Mike. It is at this moment that Will remembers Robin's words. Memories flood his mind, the happiest moments with Mike, Joyce, and Jonathan. As he recalls these, Will becomes free of his own set of limitations. The Demogorgon, who is about to attack Mike, freezes in midair. Nearby, Will regains his footing with a hand directed at the Demogorgon. But that's not the only one. Will also stops the Demogorgons before Lucas and Robin. With a surge of power, Will lifts them into the air and breaks them, similar to what Vecna did to Max, Chrissy, and the others. With Will's actions, he saves his friends. Dropping to the ground, Will lifts his head as blood drips from his nose. And that's where the first volume of Stranger Things Season 5 leaves us. Hawkins is under siege, our heroes are scattered and fighting for their lives, and we're only halfway through this final battle. When you look back at the first 4 seasons, you'll realize just how much foreshadowing they did the entire time. We also learned that Lucas isn't the biggest stalker in this series. It's obviously Vecna. Everything we ever questioned before is now getting some answers. From Will's disappearance as to what happened to 8, but there are still more questions that need answers. Like, what is Vecna afraid of? Is Will Vecna's equal or replacement? What about the children? Are they 12 because it pertains to time? The Duffer Brothers really gave us a lot to think about. So drop your thoughts in the comments below and let's talk about them. If you haven't already, make sure you're subscribed and hit that notification bell so you don't miss our breakdowns when the next episodes drop. Thank you so much for watching and see you in the next one.